Hey, look at that. We're streaming. Fantastic news. The stream is live. And the stream is healthy. Wow, thanks, YouTube Studio. You're the best. Okay, so I've decided that these guys, these input elements. Nope, that's not the tab. That's not the tab I want to open. Yeah, you guys, you exist in HTML, and we can't have that anymore, I think. Yeah, we basically can't have that anymore. So, because I want to be able to control this UI from JavaScript. And I guess technically, if I really thought about it, there could be a way to have the whole UI in HTML, but so I wouldn't have like the question is like, is it completely necessary to be calling uh, document dot create element? But like you would have to have like hidden all the stuff hidden in the HTML. I just don't. And even then you'd have to like a lot of the stuff is gonna have some dynamic elements to it. So I don't. Yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't just have it being generated for the JavaScript. Yeah, I don't know. It was a fun thought, but uh, okay. So, and you could do more interesting things like you can make it function and like sort of parameterize the inputs, and then if you make a change to one input, you're making a change to all the inputs. See, there's just so many advantages to having programmatically controlled UI that just like raw HTML is very, very limited. Which I suppose is why all these people build UI frameworks and stuff. And I guess technically I'm building a UI framework, but like it's significantly simpler. Okay, so we kind of want. Can I like look at you for reference? Got too many files open. Freaking close these files. I mean, there's a button for that. Too late. So if I paste this in here and I comment it out, I'll have something to look at. Okay, so we want to return an HTML input element, I think. And is it okay if I define the on input outside of this function? Yes, I think it is. And this is not my immediate mode UI in the rhythm game. This is a simpler, different UI. So let's see what happens. Yeah. Yeah, okay. This should be okay in theory. Document.create element, we need a div. Yeah. And we need a label. input. Okay, so we know input dot set attributes type is equal to range. I've done something wrong. Oh. Yeah, what was I thinking? That made no sense. What did I just write? My neurons misfired. Okay, so the type of the input is range. And just real quick, I want to check something. Is it possible that I could do dot type? I can do dot type equals range. Okay. Well, there we go. That's probably the better way to do things. Is there input dot min? Min? Aha! It has to be a string? Go figure. Defines the minimum acceptable value for an input element with type number. Well, I'm not using type number. I'm using type range. So this documentation seems inaccurate. Huh. Well, we probably, let's see, min max. Do we have an initial min max? Does that make sense? Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, I think all my sliders are gonna have mins and maxes, right? Yeah, probably. Min is equal to min dot toString input dot max. Okay, step. Do I specify that it has to be initial? I think since I'm not specifying these things as initial, then I don't worry about it. Is that going to be a problem? Doing that toString thing. Is that a problem? I suppose it might not be. There's always weird problems with like displaying floating point values to the user, right? So, I don't know. It's fine. Now, do I want the div? Or do I want the input? I think I want both. just do both. Porque no los dos. Yeah, so like div is div, input is input, I guess. I don't freaking know. Div HTML, div element, input HTML, input element. Sure. Because I need this div, because if I want to put the thing, this whole object, into a parent div, then I'll need to do that operation on the div, not the input. And I could be, operate on the input and be like, tell me what your parent element is, and then do that, but that seems wrong. I have these things in memory right now, so might as well just send them up rather than doing some weird search operation. Unless it's not really a search operation and it's like almost equivalent. I don't freaking know. I don't freaking know. Hmm. Single input dot get parent element node dot parent element HTML returns the parent element. Yeah, doing dot parent element wouldn't be so bad, would it? Oddly, that seems more elegant in a weird way. Okay, so we div label eventually we're gonna be like div dot append child label, and we're gonna be document dot body dot append child div. And then we're gonna be like div dot append child input, and label has a for label dot for HTML4. Says it retrieves the object to which the given label object is assigned. I did not know about this attribute. Okay. Some ID. Some ID. ID string. Input ID. Input dot ID. Yeah, and then I say div dot style dot add. Oh. Div dot class list dot add. Slider div. Oh. There's a lot of values we're dealing with here. Yeah, we have the ID, and then we actually have the text of the label. Label text string. Label dot text content is equal to label text. I think that's right. Okay, and it returns the input. So it's going to be this operation plus the operation of hooking up the input plus the operation of adding it to the UI, the options div. Yeah. Okay. Comment it. Comment it out. Okay. So let's start by simply recreating the same functionality. Right? Okay. So we'll say let, do we call it options div? Yeah, maybe we do. Is equal to document. And this is the thing that we're going to be appending to. We're going to call create labeled input, labeled range, in fact. And it's going to be input ID. We probably go ahead and expand this out. Input ID, labeled text, thickness. 1 second, let me just double check that Discord sent the notification to my channel. Yes, it did. Good. We're happy to see this. Okay. Min 0 max this for now. Step 001 value, whatever that initial value used to be, 0.2. And that's it, I think. Okay, that's not so bad. We maybe make a variable, right? We make a variable and we're like 0.2. Then we're like, delete that. That makes sense. This works just fine as it was. I need to do options div.append child. Append the parent parent element. That seems sensible. Okay, good. I'm happy enough with that. Okay, we'll do the same song and dance again. Okay, here's the text. The min is 0, the max is 0.2. The initial value is 0.025. input is fine as is, and then we append it. Looking good, I think. Bevel size, that's not how you spell that word. Min 0, max 0.2. Step 0.001. Initial value 0.05. Fantastic. Fantastic. We can test it now. Okay. I think that I'd like to see like the final line of the output if I possibly could. Okay. Here we are. Looks like no change, basically. Has the class on it. Yeah, it looks good. Still functions. Ooh, and I think, yes, interesting. The, yep, the max value is just right so that when I max it out, it looks like it's perfectly flush. Right there. That's an improvement. That wasn't like that before. Oh! It freaks out a little bit right there. That's hilarious. That's amazing. Huh. Now, if the program was really smart, it would be able to like collapse. It would delete this control point, basically. Yeah, both of those on either side. But given that these like collapse cases are so like unique, I I I don't want to build some like really generic thing that could somehow detect when it's colliding with other things. I don't even know how you would do that. That seems like impossibly hard. I think what I do instead is just somehow give the user the ability to delete control points and maybe like switch to alternate sets of control points because that's already a problem. How to explain? Like here, uh, ideally there would be a way to switch from having two control points here to having just one that's positioned in the middle. That is something I plan to do. Oh, and same idea down here as well. Similar concept. These three things. These three. I don't even know what you call them. Because these, I call these arms, and this is just the base. But they're all quite similar. Whatever. Is anyone ever going to need a line width that big? That's kind of silly. Whatever. Who cares? Okay, so yeah, the UI is doing UI things. That's great news. We're happy to see it. Okay. Next, I want to build a layers UI. Oh shit, I'm yawning. I guess I'm tired. I did stay up a little bit late last night, so that kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense. Although I'm, this same thing happened yesterday, last stream, where even after the end of streaming for like no, not 3 hours. Ha, I wish. 2 hours and 15 minutes. I was still feeling pretty tired, so I didn't really feel woken up until I went and shoveled snow for like 30 minutes. So that's interesting. That's interesting. Maybe if I started my days with shoveling snow, I'd feel better. That's counterintuitive. Okay. I'm gonna make UI util. Because this index file is just so big, and it's doing a lot of stuff, and I want like space to think, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, so here's where I configure. These are all gonna have to change, and this part especially is gonna have to be abstracted and generalized. Ugh. Okay, so there needs to be like a layers view thing. Not a view. Of some kind of box of some kind. And it's always going to be on screen. Okay, so this is like a major UI element. Yeah. So I could, in theory, put it here. Div id equals layers div. Okay. And I style this thing somehow. Yeah, I style this guy somehow, some way. What do I think about this thing? What do I... So it's gonna be called layers div. And we know we're gonna have things in the layers div called I guess, layer. Right. It's gonna have some width. Oh, it's probably gonna be way wider than that, right? It might even be all 500 pixels. It's gonna have some height. Don't know about the padding. Might not have any padding. Left. Let's try 0 pixels. Certainly going to be position absolute. Ooh, it needs to actually be on top. Order does matter here. Okay, and then if I do this, I kind of for free get the nice aspect that it's gonna like layer over top of it, so it'll like look nice. Let's see if this will do what I think it will. That's quite unexpected. It was actually looking fine for a second, but then everything broke. What's happening here? Create labeled range is not. Oh, that's totally fair. That's totally fair. Yeah. Okay, we try this again. Style's mad at me, but that's fine. We ignore it. Okay. It's at the top. Well, of course it's at the top. That's where I put it, but I didn't intend to. So we say top is some number of pixels. Well, it's going to be 640 minus the height, which is 440. And then it just changes it magically. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of how it should look, I guess. Maybe I move it to the right subtly, right? We move it 20 pixels, 10 pixels. Yeah, then it's like centered. Woohoo! Mission accomplished. Oh, this actually doesn't look quite right at all. Is it something to do with the padding? That's weird. That's weird, right? What's your deal? Ooh. Ooh, I hate padding. Yeah. Don't like that. So I'd have to subtract that from the width if I wanted it to be like precisely correct. Ah, I don't care. I don't care right now. That's not what I'm trying to do. Cool. So, oh yeah. Okay. So for sure. Oh, okay. Hold on. There's gonna be like a panel of stuff in this div. It's gonna be like. It's gonna be like div id equals layers control panel. Okay, and then there's gonna be inside this. There's gonna be like the actual layers. And I could just as easily put this in JavaScript, but it's kind of nice to not, you know? Like, it's kind of nice not to. I don't know. Less code is good. What do we call this thing? Because I've already got layers div, which contains a layer control panel. Layers control panel. It's going to be layers something. Display. Sure. Okay, so there's a layers control panel. There's a layers display. And then there's an actual layer class. Cool. This guy and the layers display should not be position absolute. They're going to be brought around for the journey. They're coming along for the ride because they live inside the layers div. I will do this just because, I suppose. um, I think this is width. You know, every time I've used a percentage width, it just doesn't seem to work out. I don't think I know how to use it right yet. It will have a fixed height of, I don't know, 30 pixels or something. And then this guy should be the rest of the height. Which doesn't, I don't know how to tell it to do that. That seems Googleable, maybe. It's really hard to Google CSS stuff. Oh, YouTube wants me to know that my audio bitrate is 0 again. Don't know how that happens. Okay. HTML, CSS. Have element take up the rest of the div height. Okay, let me see. Flexbox, I suppose, is somebody's answer. But I don't see something with a fixed height and something with like a quote unquote remainder height. If height is known slash fixed. Header height is, oh, there's a calc. Oh. Calc 100% minus. Okay, wow, my stomach makes itself known. I don't know if you heard that though. You can use calc. That's interesting. Okay, so the method proposed is height is equal to calc 100% minus 30 pixels. Mind blowing if that actually works. Okay. In theory, this is just there in the UI right now. This doesn't look like much, but that could be how it's supposed to be. Layers div. Uh-huh. Control panel? Yeah, that's magical. Honestly, magical. That makes me very happy. That's exactly how I want it to work. And then this guy, this layers display fella, okay, he's going to be a scroller. That's the technical term. A scroller. Overflow Y is scroll. Um, yeah. And the parent has a fixed height, so that should still work? Question mark? Don't really know. Can I color you slightly differently? Yeah, you can be green. I don't need to do npx webpack to make that work. Yeah, there we go. And look, overflow Y scroll. That looks wonderful. Kinda, mostly. Yeah. Okay. Cool so far. Right? They'll have a bunch of layers here and they can scroll up and down. And then there's a bunch of stuff you can click on in each layer. Okay, we're gonna have something like a table in here. Yeah. Man, this just rectangles for everything makes it look really bad, but it's fine. It's good. It's gonna be great. Okay. The actual underlying mechanics of this is still sort of mysterious to me. It's cool that we got this part. I'm happy with this. That's gonna be sick. We have two layers currently. Okay, so we have a fill layer and a line layer. These are things and concepts that I added off stream. You know, because I'm just so productive that I can't fit all my productivity into a single stream. It's amazing. Um, Size. The size thing is not something. Does it belong to a particular layer? It kind of does. Uh, it should actually be more like a percentage number, and there should be like a just a global size thing. Yeah. Okay. So like, I thought of it. I might as well do it. Global. 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 That's yes. Export let size number equals 300. Okay. And then this becomes a size ratio. This becomes a size ratio. Boop. Size ratio. And everything that thought it wanted size in the past is now broken. And I'm going to look for usages of this. This dot. No. Okay, here. Oh, okay. It wants a size. So it would be. I think I make this all caps. to like make it clear that it's special. Size times that. Yeah? Is that all we need to make it happen? The control points do need the size, don't they? Yes, for sure they do. Also top left. Top left is input. Top left is dependent on... Aha, yes it is. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll say size number is equal to size times. We'll do this. Okay. And then we'll pass in this. Size over 2, size over 2. Okay. Just making sure. This is wrong as well. Okay, cool. And naturally, we have to copy this change over to the fill layer because I haven't decided, or well, I'm pretty sure that we want these to be separate, but it's possible we end up in a future state where they're not separate. I could totally see that happening. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Okay, boop, boop, and boop, and line width is not a concept in this one, so that's no problem. Okay. And all of those changes just so I can pass in 1.0 here. And in theory, gotta double check, test it, make sure it's kosher, make sure everything's as we expect it to be. Good, no change. We're happy. Oh, you didn't see that. Hey, there's no change. Okay, fantastic. I'm getting hungry. Gonna take a break, go get some cereal. Be right back. Hey, I'm back. Alright, we got some cereal. Not Captain Crunch, despite what the name of that song might suggest. But yeah, cereal is always my breakfast. Well, okay, not always. It has become my regular breakfast go to. Uh, yeah, I don't know when that started. I guess, like, I wanted I wanted something sweet, right? I wanted to be able to eat something sweet, so I had like a hankering for cereal, I think. And then like it was just surprisingly filling. And then I also discovered this concept of ultra filtered milk, which just makes me feel silly saying. But it's just milk that has a lot more protein content because of the filtering process that they use. Filters out the things that aren't protein more. Uh, and more protein, more filling is more good, and it's also lactose free. I'm not lactose intolerant. I guess lucky me, but it's like it's like slightly healthier milk, and it tastes good. But that's actually not the milk I have. Okay, it's just a little bit too much information, but I have like two milks that I have for different purposes. I have the fat-free gallon milk, and then I have this ultra filtered milk. And I save the ultra filtered milk for nighttime cereal. Which, yeah, I save it for that because nighttime cereal is you know it's more special. It helps me uh stay full longer in the nighttime. I don't know why. I just feel incredibly embarrassed talking about it. Ah, shit. Well, anyways, what we need to do is we need some kind of update function that we call whenever there's a change to our layers, like whenever we add a layer, delete a layer, switch views, something like that. Yeah, so we want some let's make a function for that, right? And it's probably going to depend on the layers array. So we'll be like, hey, function update layer, no. Yes, layers display. Starts with a document dot get element by ID. I need the cast to this because I know it's going to be a div. Okay, and it's something like for let okay, and we're gonna need another function that's like create layer. Okay, and I think a layer is most likely going to be a div. Because everything's a div. And it's going to have the class layer. So it's going to be styled with all that stuff. What's the meat of it going to be, though? Like, what is it actually made of? A label. Ooh, labor. Label. You know, what occurred to me is this guy. How do I delete all the elements inside an element? um, that's Googleable. Do I just do like .html is equal to empty string? Inner HTML is equal to empty string, yep. That makes perfect sense. Div.inner HTML is equal to empty string. Boom. Yeah, and then we populate it. We're gonna be like, okay, good so far, in theory. Let me think. Let me think while I eat cereal. All the information I need should be present in the layer. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we need like is hidden. Do we do this? No. We need like a label. Name. Name is hidden. I was thinking of like selected or something like that. Hmm. The like list of selected layers is not really a concern of the layer, if that makes sense. It's more like it's more like a concern of the UI, and it's a concern of the the like overall controlling logic needs to needs to know which layers are selected so that it can like construct the proper UI and then route the UI changes into the appropriate layers. And it also needs to like know what layers to look into to get out the information in those layers of like the current state of things so that the UI is correct when it's first generated. Yeah. But name and is hidden. Well, hmm. I could argue that is hidden just means that we don't call the draw function on it. Hmm. I guess it's kind of arbitrary the more I think about it. It's like, who cares? Yeah, who cares? Like, we need a per layer boolean that says whether it's selected somewhere. It is double the code every time I have to do this, which is annoying. Which I guess is why people use abstract constructors, but whatever. We can initialize the false. There. We don't really need to pass that in. A name? Kind of need a name. Yeah, we kind of always need a name. Is selected. That I don't know. I feel like that should be something you initialize. I don't know, maybe not. For now, we'll say is selected is a constructor thing. Hmm. Hmm. I'm trying to think like if you load the state of your drawing from like a file, okay? Like if I add the ability to export to a file, like a JSON file, for example, and then import it back in, then in that situation, you would be using it in the constructor. In which case, frick me, I guess we just have another argument. This is a copy and paste moment. I was just absentmindedly thinking of stuff though, like how like the selected is gonna work. There's probably gonna be another style here. Okay, we're gonna have like dot layer selected, which is gonna be some kind of outline or something. But we're gonna add and take away this class, I think. Does that work how I think it does? Does that work how I think it does, or do you need the negation of that class as well? uh, that's interesting. I'm thinking it will work that way. Hmm. Well, anyways. Oh yeah, so these layers are very unhappy right now. Boop is hidden false, is selected true. Should I hidden or visible? Frick is visible. Oh, it changed that too. That's a little bit unexpected, but okay. Okay, good. Empty string true true. Empty string true true. And what else are we doing? What do we name these? Let's call it line. Let's call it fill. We're back here again. Okay. So we know now that the label dot inner text I didn't do it that way before with the label. What did I do? HTML4 text content. I should just do inner text. Is equal to layer. How do I spell? Layer dot name. Okay, that's clear enough. And then selected is a class, I think. So it's gonna be like if layer dot is selected layer. No, div. Layer selected. Yeah, and there's going to be a cute little button that you click on that can make it visible or not, which is not a label. Which is not a label, but hold on a second, I just thought of something. We want a export let label generic label name counter is equal to 1. Because maybe this is just me having used paint.net for too long, but inevitably when you add new layers in paint.net, you don't really want to name them because like you're just trying to get work done. You don't want to like go in there and be all fancy and professional. It's just like, no, I know what these layers are. Just let me go. Uh You know what occurs to me? In paint.net, the layers have like little image previews. I could do that. I don't know that I want to. Well, it's not that it's like too hard or anything. It's just that I'm unsure if that's the solution to the problem. Because other there's like some limitations to doing that. Other editors do it in slightly different ways sometimes. How hard would that be? Well, what I would do is rather than repeatedly drawing the like this, what is it? Line layer. If you look at this draw loop, what I'm doing is I'm I'm actually like creating the path and then doing stroke or doing fill on it, and that's happening every frame. And it's fine because it's so few lines and it's so few pixels that it's not actually that hard to do. It's just one thing on screen. It's not hard. But what I could do instead of that is uh, on update only draw the new path onto an off-screen canvas. Not literally an off-screen canvas, but just like a canvas that happens to not be on screen. And then copy those pixels onto the screen. And what I would get for free from doing that is I could also copy those pixels onto a cute little layer preview on each of my layers. That seems really cool, actually. That seems really cool. Yeah. Um, but I'm trying to think, is there a better way to communicate the contents of the layer? That's important, okay? Cuz I think I've seen um okay, let me just I'm pretty decided now actually, but I'm just going to do a quick Google search to see like Photoshop. Okay, some like generic Photoshop screenshots of what like the layers UI looks like. Okay. Yeah, it looks like their layer UI is basically the same. Yeah, their layer UI has a square preview of. Oh, interesting. And the label actually is on the right side in that case. Let me look at paint.net again. Paint.net. Oh, it's actually the same in paint.net and I didn't realize it. The label's on the right side. Wow, okay, interesting. But their preview is rectangular. But I know mine would be square because the image of interest is always square. That's so sick. That is exactly how I would do it. That's perfect. So freaking sick. Um okay, if I am gonna do that eventually, if I'm gonna do the whole draw to an off-screen canvas and then copy the pixels thing, I'm probably not gonna I'm probably not gonna want to have this shit here. Well, okay. No, I could have it as two separate files still. Yes, I could still have it as two separate files. It would just be like a function that's shared between them. And out of curiosity, where's this? This is paths. I'm probably gonna join these two things together at some point. I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't decide. So much duplicate code. It's fine. It's just a short, tiny file. Doesn't matter. Keep them separate for now. Oh, okay. So actually, what's gonna happen? Okay, when we decide to update the layers display, we okay. So why? Let me back up for a second. Let me think. So why am I doing it like this, where I like just delete the whole freaking thing and then create it anew? Why do I want to do it that way? Well, oh, and each layer, every layer has to be guaranteed to have a canvas. Yeah, every layer has to have a canvas. Cool. Preview canvas. Preview canvas. Is that what you call it? It's not. It's not really a preview per se. Hmm. Preview canvas. Yeah, we'll have that there for now. Okay, what I would do then. Let's visible div. Oh, and at the end of each of these, of course, we're going to be like div.append child, right? Document.body. Wait, no, yeah, okay. I don't need to append it to the document because I'm appending it to the layers display. Yeah, okay, so I don't need to do that. That's fine. But I do need to do this. Div.append child label. Okay, but before the label comes the canvas. And maybe I wrap it in a div, right? I probably wrap it in a you wrap everything in a div in HTML in web development. Everything gets a div. Everything gets a div. Even the label should get a div technically, but I'm not going to do that. Let's preview div. And then what I could do is I could say preview div dot append child layer dot can preview canvas. That's sick. That's totally awesome. Loving this. Like where this is going a lot. Yeah. Yeah, we create the layer display. And then we put them there. It's so perfect. Okay, great. When do we call this function? On initialization. Um, yeah, so I guess like here. There we go. We called the function. All right, and now I just need to do that canvas nonsense. Um, Now what I'm thinking about is the background, the background of the preview display. What do I call it? Preview. Oh, preview canvas. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah. The background of the layer preview is they do that white and gray checkerboard pattern in order to signify transparency, like nothing on there is nothing is on there. And you sort of have to artificially add that in there. Interestingly enough. So how would that work? I guess. Huh. I need like a utility function that fills a space with a white and gray checkerboard pattern. Uh, out of curiosity, let me Google that real quick. Why is white and gray? Because maybe I don't want to use white and gray. I don't know. Why is transparency represented as a white and gray checkerboard pattern? God, I hope somebody has asked and answered this question before. Yeah, this is a Stack Exchange thing. Let's see. Hmm. It's supposedly called the checkered background or the transparency grid. Okay. So, all right. Well, let me go ahead and make this function then. Let's see. Let's see. How would I do that? So, if I'm updating my preview, what I would do is I would first draw the background and then copy the pixels. That's basically how I think it should work. Okay. Yeah, fill fill with sure CTX canvas rendering context. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Okay, what are the dimensions? That's kind of important, right? um because I need to translate that into a number of rows and columns. Because I can't draw forever. But I would certainly start at 0, 0. That's simple enough. Okay. So let box size number is equal to, I don't know, 10? Maybe you pass that in, right? You probably want a different box size for the preview versus the regular. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so then all I have to do is be like math.ceil width over box size let num columns I probably just do like white and gray. As the styles, as the colors. See what happens. Cool. So the first thing we do is we just draw one rectangle in one of the colors. Just actually, you just draw, you fill the whole thing with that. Basically, is what you do. Cool. We hope and assume that this would be grid aligned, but I'm not going to do anything to ensure that here. Well, should I? It's possible that during multiplication it would well, we'll find out. We'll find out. Don't overthink it. Let's just keep going. Okay, so what I would do is I would say ctx.fillRect 0, 0 width height And there you go. I would do like 60 to save. And definitely save restore. Is it definitely save restore? I don't know. Yeah, probably. ctx.fill style is equal to color1. Then we do a double for loop. Can I make this a little bit smarter? Let me think. So I could start with y like this. And I could say, no, probably I don't do that. Y is equal to I times box size. Is that correct? Does that make sense? Oh, and we have to, okay. Another thought is we have to do like odd even stuff. Let me just look at the transparency box real quick. What is the top left box? The top left box is, oh, sometimes it's gray, sometimes it's white. Huh. It's like 50-50. Weird. I'm gonna make the gray the top left. Yeah, I'm gonna put gray in the top left. But we have to do plus equals 2 here. Okay, so we start at 0 and it's all the evens. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I say for let j equals 0. Yeah, that seems right. Let x equal j times box size. Ta-da! That should just work, really. Okay. Cool. And let me try to think. There's some other operations we need to do, right? We need to be... Line layer. So each layer actually gets 2 canvases, right? Okay, this is a little bit tricky. This is a little bit tricky because of how some of the assumptions I made with like center X and center Y. Uh, Now center X and Y would be derived, I think. And I might have to move the like overall layer drawing thing where we copy the layers pixels onto the main screen. Maybe we move that outside of the layer class, which wouldn't which largely wouldn't change anything. Uh yeah, okay. That seems like a good idea. Cool. Okay. Right, right. Okay. Okay, interesting. The concept of rotation doesn't make sense in here either anymore. Because you would just copy the pixels rotated. Yeah, you would just copy the pixels rotated. That's good. That makes sense. Okay. Cool. Simplification is good. Okay, so no rotation. No rotation. Uh, no center. No center. It's implied by size. Um, when you create the layer, it creates the canvas. Okay, okay. Well, we'll see. Could be interesting. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that seems right. Name invisible is visible as selected canvas. Okay. You don't need these in the constructor. You do want a size ratio. And this, you don't want rotation. Line width ratio, sure, color as well. Don't want that, don't want that. So what you would do is you would say new canvas. I need to set the dimensions of the canvas. It would be the global size thing. Perfect. Yep, that makes sense. Cool. So update, what does update do now? Update, you must have to draw the updated thing to its canvas, right? Oh, top left is always going to be 0. Wait, no. Aha, okay. Crap, what does this size ratio mean now? Um, the size could be reduced, and we would want it to remain centered, right? If we're reducing the size, we're shrinking it inwards, we want it to stay centered, which means top left would change. How would it change? I think it would be like this. Size minus size over 2. That seems like a silly way to calculate it. But sure. Yeah, and okay, you do need size in there as well. Okay, cool. I love the fact that this just works as well as it does. That's really simple. Um, this that control points to update and then draw. Okay. Right. Now it becomes part of this. Each update you draw. Is that... Ooh, hold on a second. It's possible that... It's possible that update will get called at a faster rate than 60 FPS, right? Isn't that possible? Um, and if that's the case, you don't have to render. You don't have to actually render the new thing, the new layer. Okay, that seems really cool. Okay, so what I would do is I would say private, um, private updated boolean, um, initialize to false, because then we call this update in the constructor, and after we're done updating the control point positions, we say this updated is equal to true. Then in the actual draw loop, we'll call this render now. In the actual draw loop, target CTX. Or destination. Yeah. Here we'll say if this dot updated, we need to call this dot render before we copy the pixels onto the destination. And this dot render doesn't need, it knows how to render itself. Cool. Cool. And we say this, we'll say let CTX equal this dot CTX. Okay. Rotation. It doesn't need to rotate anything. That's right. Unless, unless we wanted like a per layer rotation. That doesn't seem likely. Nah, for now, no. I don't think that's a thing. I don't think that's going to be a thing. But what we do is we say ctx.clear rect 0 size. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thinking. That makes some sense. Render. And render probably also updates the preview, right? Doesn't it? Probably does. Render. When does render get called? Render only gets called now in this draw loop. Which is exactly how it was before, basically, which is fine. Okay, interesting. Render. Okay, so I split render. I split it into two parts. We're gonna have, hold on, let me actually drag draw up here. We're gonna have render main canvas, and then we're gonna have public render. It could be private, honestly. I don't think anybody's gonna be calling these private render preview canvas. Or maybe just render main. Render main, render preview. And this is all render main. This is all render main. Oh, and it's not actually render preview, is it? It's draw preview. Okay. I'm trying to think about like hidden and not hidden, right? Even when it's hidden, you still need to be rendering it. You still need to render it. You need to render main, and you need to render preview. Interesting. Oh, hey, I just looked at chat. Hey, Will. How's it going? I don't know how recently you messaged. And don't worry about it, because there's no way to see that anywhere. Why? Ah, that's a feature request for YouTube. Okay, so render main. I think for now, for simplicity, I'm gonna have to do it where it's like uh do I make render a public? Do I make render public? And be like shit. Okay, but is visible. Okay, okay. So I could be like um if this has been updated, then we call render, and we also call this dot well it's oh yeah, just render. We say render main and this dot render preview. Okay. And that's fine. And then we have another if statement that's like, if this dot, if it's false, that this is visible, then do not copy the pixels. We're copying no pixels today. Okay, but we still do render. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Cool. And render main, there's a bug in here, I think. Right? CTX is CTX. We clear the main canvas if there's no line width and it's a line layer, it's going to be blank regardless. That's correct. Okay. And we create a path, and we have control points, and in theory, if the control points have been updated correctly, this is not a concern, it is still correct. Perfect. Size is size, and that matters because line width ratio. That's still fine. Size is still what it is, as long as we're not using like center stuff. Okay, and then render preview. Okay, how's this gonna work? I don't know the dimensions of my preview. That's an interesting thing. I should probably make that a global preview size. 1/10? 30? 30 by 30? That's probably too small. Right? Maybe we do 60. Sure. Okay. So if we're rendering the preview, what do we do? I don't have a preview canvas currently. Canvas. Where's my preview canvas? Where's implement layer? Okay, there we go. That's what I thought. Preview canvas, preview context. It's mad at me. Oh. Okay. Now, we will also create the preview canvas using the same method. I'm going to copy and paste. Preview canvas. Boop, 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 boop. I'm going to rename this, actually. preview sounds. Okay. Beautiful. Now we have a preview. And now, when we say to render the preview, we can start doing stuff. Okay, so first step is always clear dot. Oh, actually, we say we're going to be working with two contexts, but we'll say CTX. Okay, clear the preview, then you draw the background on the preview. And it's the layer's responsibility to draw the background. Cause that's you know, why not? Somebody's got to do it. And we'll do we made that function for it. What's that called? I forget. That. Fill with transparency checkerboard. We need to give it a canvas or a context. A width. And a height and a box size. I'm going to go with 5 and see where that gets me. Cool. We got the transparency checkerboard on there. Now we got to draw, or rather copy, from our main canvas to our preview canvas. So what's that? Is it CTX dot, oops, CTX dot draw image? Yeah. Image is going to be this dot canvas. Yes, I think. Destination X and Y. Okay, we need destination width and height. Yeah, this is the one we need. This is the overload that we need. Destination X and Y is still 0, 0. Destination width and height, however. Okay. Yes, because the source width and height should automatically be the whole thing, I think. I think that's it. I think that copies the pixels. Yeah, I think that just copies the pixels. Perfect. Okay. Render main, render preview. This is great. Okay. And then if it's false that this is visible, return. Okay. This is still... Oh, okay. This is actually going to be super simple, right? Destination CTX. We'll say let. And then we'll say CTX dot draw image. Problem. Problem. We know it's going to be this dot main, or just this dot canvas. Where do I draw it? Where do I draw it on the destination? I guess we draw it at a center point. Sure. I guess that's doable. Yeah, that's doable. And then we'll say how do we figure this out? We need to know the top left point, so it's simply center x minus size over 2, right? Yeah, I think it's as simple as that. Okay, so the destination xy is top left x, top left y, but the destination width is identical to mine. So that's it. That is it. Yeah, because if ever I decide that I want a bigger rendering on the screen, well, hold on. Let me think here. That's a little bit too far ahead for me to think about right now, I think. Maybe at some point I do want a width and a height in this function, but for now, I'm not going to think about it. That's fine. Fantastic. This does not match up with the current definition of layer, but we will change that. There we go. Update is still update, and it's been changed slightly. Okay, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The other one now needs the corresponding changes. Okay. Let's see if we can get those changes in there. We've got the canvases. No center. No rotation. Good. Okay, we create these, which are generic. Make sure we import that global. Yep. This gets changed ever so slightly. Oh, I can't wait to figure out the bugs in this massive change. It's going to be so fun. Okay, draw is going to be totally different now. Draw is going to become this. This guy is going to basically be render main. And we're going to have this here. No rotation here. That seems correct so far. And then all this stuff is generic. And when I say all this stuff, it's literally just this one function. This is actually not very complicated. Cool. However, problem. Oh, I forgot this cute little guy. Oh, I need the updated flag, which is private, and it's down low, which is why I forgot about it. And at the end of update, we need to set this.updated to true. And at the end of, ooh, did I forget this? I might have forgotten this. Ah, at the end of render, we set this.updated to false. Very important. Fantastic. Brilliant. Next. Okay, we've got some problems. We've got some problems. Is it just this that I get rid of? I think that was the rotation. Name visible selected. Size ratio. Oh, center X and Y. Size ratio 1, thickness ratio, line width, bevel size ratio, color. Aha, okay. So get rid of that and get rid of rotation. Okay. Small problem in the main draw loop now. This is totally fine. We pass that in, obviously. But we also pass in center X, center Y. Also, this is no longer the background. I'm going to blind myself with the the checkerboard pattern background. Fill with transparency checkerboard CTX. Box size. So I'm using box size 5 compared to 60. 60 out of 5 is a 12. So which dimension do I base it on? The width or the height? The width is 1,000. 1,000 divided by 12 doesn't work. 640 divided by 12 also doesn't work. We're going to go with like 50. Yeah, we're going to go with like 50. Perfect. That might... Okay. And now, after making, 1,000-line code change, there's gotta be like 1,000 bugs. Oh god. Okay, yeah, here's some bugs. It's actually amazingly close to being correct. It's just the checkerboard pattern that seems broken right now. And this at the bottom left, the layers I want to be more just like in a line. Uh, Gosh, that layer preview is so sexy. I love that. Holy shit. It's really close. Thickness works. Line width works. Oh, look, it's updating the preview. Uh, how freaking sick is that? Okay. I misunderstood. I have a conceptual misunderstanding right now of the the checkerboard pattern. But that's fine. That's easy enough to remedy. Huh. This text I don't like. Let me mess with the CSS a little bit and make this instead of, oh boy. We're doing, we're shading rather than lightening now is what's happening. Okay, we're shading rather than lightening now, which still makes it impossible to read the text, but that's fine. That's fine because we can fix that. Blavik. Okay. Good, the text is black now. That makes me happier. Good, good. Fantastic. Okay. And the outline, the line layer, which is not configured here, it's configured in index. The line layer will no longer be white, it will now be black. And that requires a refresh. There we go. Oh, look, that looks really nice. That looks really nice. Yeah. Okay. And before we get to see the exciting conclusion, I have to go to the bathroom first, so be right back. Yawning. We're back. And I figured out how we're going to solve the checkerboard problem. Also, those box sizes are way too big. Let's cut the box size in half. Maybe even less. 20? 25. Nah, 20. And the both of these layers need a checkerboard of 4. 60 is divisible by 4. So we could do that. We could also do 3. 4 or 3. Let's try 4. It's 20% smaller, right? Okay, and now the algorithm. Watch and be amazed. We say if I plus j is even, then we do it. Otherwise, don't. That's it. That's the magic. That's the trick. Now we have a checkerboard pattern. Ooh. Ooh, I don't like that for some reason. It looks good here. In the preview, actually, it looks pretty good. Here, it's still a little bit too big. I think that's why I don't like it, is it's still too big. Do we go half again? 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 Maybe we go 15. It's probably still going to be too big, but we'll try it. Yeah, I think it's still a little bit too big. Yeah, and it's like they're too dark, actually. Okay, so we go like 12, I think, and we make this not literally gray, but we say new color something or other dot get style. We want, okay, so white would be 255. Gray, so we want a lighter gray, so like 150. I'm guessing that regular gray was exactly in the middle, which would be 125. Not sure about that. So, is this a light gray? It is slightly lighter. It is a slightly lighter gray, which is desirable.